Today I want to discuss the tips and tricks for morning pages that I have learned now after doing them for over a year. So I have had a decent amount of time. I've done them pretty much consistently, not every single day, but majority of the days during every single week. So I have come across some tips and tricks. I can also tell you basically what they are about so that you can determine for yourself whether it's something you want to try, and then some tips and tricks to help you really get the most out of them so that it'll stick. So what they basically are is just a brain dump you do in the morning. It's stream of consciousness writing. It's 3 pages that you do. You just let it all out. So the first thing is to really take stock of where you are right now. So you write this in the morning of the day, obviously. You take stock of where you are on that specific day. You take stock of where you are mentally, emotionally, physically. It doesn't really matter, but you get a nice snapshot of the state of your affairs, basically. It could be simple things that you write about, like, this is what I like at the moment, this is what I don't like at the moment. I would love to do more of this, and I would like to do none of that. And so you form just a little glimpse for yourself even. Well, it is really just for yourself of where you are, taking stock of where you are at that moment in time. This is beneficial for multiple reasons. First of all, how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you are? Secondly, how many times have you thought that you were good only to discover you're not so good? Once you just, it's like when you ask someone, how are you doing today? Most people just say, oh, fine, great, cool, me. But if you really had to ask them and you say, you look a little bit tense today. Is there something that's bothering you? Is there something I can help you with? Usually, if you, scratched a little bit on the surface, you would get a much, much different answer. And the same goes for you. If you ask yourself better questions, you get better answers. And so this is what you can help yourself with in morning pages. You will realize that you have a lot of black and white thinking. So a lot of like, one day, I really love this friend. And the next day, yes, I really can't stand them. Don't be shocked at that. Don't judge yourself, because that is basically the point of morning pages, is to get past the judgment. So it doesn't matter. That's just how our human brains function, really, is that one day you hate this, the next day you love it. Or one day you feel like doing it, the next day you can't stand it and you can't imagine ever doing it again. That's okay. But be honest when you write your morning pages. No point in trying to sugarcoat your life if it isn't sugar-coated. Okay, so number 2, it helps you get past the noise. So the noise is obviously the noise in your head. All the little, the babbling that goes on in there. If I had to really record the stuff that goes on in my head, I think I'd be ashamed to show it to anybody. But I think that's what happens in most of our heads. It's like petty nonsense, random thoughts, things that really lead to nowhere, but it's very distracting. And so the point of the morning pages is really to get this out of your system. That's why you do it in the morning, so you have the rest of your day free to now have real thoughts, nice thoughts, good thoughts, thoughts that can help you get somewhere. Because the noise really will always be there. It's not, you can't get away from the noise, but you need to lock it in the cupboard, basically, or on the page for these purposes. So once you get past the noise and you've got that out of your system, your day opens up, and it opens up to let creativity flow in. You've basically made space. You've decluttered the closet that is your brain, and now creativity can come in, and you can do some meaningful work and probably just be more focused, because it helps you get over the overwhelm. So if you have a drawer that is stuffed full of stuff, every time you open that drawer and you need to get something out, you're probably so overwhelmed and thinking, why does it look like this, and how am I ever going to find the scissors, and that's basically your brain. So get rid of that stuff, and then it's clear and clean, and you've dealt with all the petty weird nonsense, because sometimes it just wants to have a voice, you know, it wants to just vent basically. And by shutting it off and shutting it down and pretending like it's not there, it'll bubble up later in the day in more it will derail good things that you have going on. It has evil little plans like that. Number 3, and there are a lot more purposes to the morning pages, but this I feel like is just the cement that holds it all together. So the third thing is that it reveals to you persistent and interesting motives and ideas that you continuously write down. So you'll see these patterns sort of forming of things that you mention a lot, things that you worry about a lot, and you might not be aware of it every day, but once you write it down, you really start noticing the prevalence of, you know, maybe you worry a lot about money and you write a lot about money. Maybe you notice that you have a lot of negative language around money. Maybe you notice that you're always doubting yourself, or you're writing things that are very self-demeaning or whatever it is, but you wouldn't have known otherwise. You wouldn't have maybe realized that on your own, but the morning pages helps reveal those things to you. And so those are the things that you can obviously work on, and that will obviously help you. So number 4 is the purpose of the morning pages can also be to ask for guidance. Now, this is an experiment that I'm going to urge you to go and do, because it's freaky and it's cool at the same time. So you're writing, and then you might have a worry or something that comes up where you think, wow, I really don't know what to do, you know, with this guy at my work, and he's been asking me out, and I really don't know what to say to him. Write down the question, write down the problem, and then just close your eyes and wait for the answer. This is sort of like Q&A with your higher conscience, is what we can call it. If you are very spiritual and you are, you know, already, it doesn't freak you out to do that exercise, then you'll probably know what I'm talking about. There's a cute little bird on my window. If you want to call it God, you can call it God. If you want to call it the universe, you can call it that. If you want to call it your own higher consciousness, you can call it that. Basically, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's help nonetheless, and usually really good help. You'll be shocked at how fantastic the answers to your problems are, which makes you wonder why you don't ask yourself for help. Maybe that's what self-help really was supposed to be. Anyway, that's off the topic. Okay, so that covers the purpose of the morning pages. So you can see why it is a tool to uncover and recover your creativity, because it gets rid of the blocks, it clears the way, and it helps you to also that's actually probably number 5. Number 5 is it helps you to get past your judgment and that critical voice in your head. It gets you to function beyond that voice. Most of us stop when we hear that voice, and that voice is present for all of us. So when you hear that negative little voice in the back of your mind that says you can't do this and you won't be able to do that, and that dream that you wrote down there is crazy, it's lunacy, like who do you think you are? That little voice, it helps you to start really identify that it is a little voice that is separate from you, and it doesn't get to rule the show. You should have action beyond that little voice. But once you really isolate that little voice and you start operating outside of it, it is very empowering in so many ways that you have to just experience it for yourself to realize. Writing these morning pages on paper with a pen, or if you really want to do this digitally, you can do it using a stylus and on your tablet. But the action of writing is quite important. The whole motion of writing with your hand is quite important. And that is why typing is not really the ideal way to do it. And Julia Cameron says that when you write longhand, it usually helps you go a bit deeper. So I've never tried to type the morning pages, but what I feel like when I write, I feel like in the motion of writing, I almost have more time to really feel into what it is that I'm feeling. Where when I type, because I feel like I type very, very fast, I can type almost faster than I'm thinking, but I can't write faster than what I'm thinking. So you're just going to get a pen and you're going to write on paper. But first, I should actually say that these morning pages are top secret. They are not for anybody's eyes but your own. And when you do them as part of the Artist Way 12-week course, you are actually instructed to not even read them yourself, reread them, that is. Only further on in the course does she actually give you one of the tasks, is then to go back and actually read the stuff that you've written. And I think that's a very good idea, to not read them right when you're doing them. It's just a bit overwhelming. But anyway, it's also good to know that nobody else will read them. So you don't have to have a filter. I don't have a filter anyway, but it's good to know that you're not getting judged for all eternity. So the 3 pages, the reason why you have to write 3 pages is, she says it's the magic number, but it really is, because on page 1, you're sort of like, okay, you're sifting through the top problems of the day. By page 2, you get sort of deeper into it, and then sometimes you feel like, ugh, I can't write another page. But once you've pushed yourself past page 2 and you get to page 3, it's usually where the real deep stuff comes in, where you reveal to yourself your true feelings about things. It's quite interesting. I don't always have time to get to page 3. So let me just also assure you that you are still going to get the benefit out of writing 1 page. Rather write a paragraph in the morning if you can, rather than doing nothing. So just to cement that habit, that new habit, because that's really what it is. You're going to have to form a new habit. This is not something that most people do every day when they wake up. But even if you can just get into writing a paragraph, or maybe get up a little bit earlier if you can, just to give yourself time to really write 3 pages. Now, the pages you are going to write will be on an A4 page. I don't know what that is called in America, but it's this size. I started out first writing it in this, which was too small. And I was like, 3 pages, no prob. Wasn't really getting a lot out, but anyway. So yes, aim for that bigger, it's like a printer paper size. And then also don't write more than 3 pages, because Julia Cameron says that you're actually you could be stripping your gears, is what she says, which I guess it just becomes too involved. Like, you're not writing a novel, and you're not, writing a dissertation on your emotional well-being. You are just getting stuff out. I almost want to say it's like taking out the garbage. That's an analogy that I just thought of. So you're going to write your A4 page. And the reason why it should also be A4 is because when you write on a small page like this, she says that you're limiting your ideas. I don't know. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know, but I now prefer writing on this size anyway. It does feel like you have a little bit more room to peruse your own state of affairs. Okay, so number 5 is obviously you have to, I don't know why I said number 5. I haven't been numbering them, have I? Anyway, the next thing you need to know about how to start is you're just going to do it in the morning. Did anyone think I was going to say that? The reason why is because in the morning, when you get up, before your brain actually has time to really, really wake up, that little critic, little negative voice in the back of your head, that also hasn't really woken up. It doesn't really have a chance yet to pipe up and really shit all over your dreams and hopes. It's also why, in the mornings you can feel quite positive, and because that little voice hasn't had time to chime in yet. But anyway, so that's when you're supposed to do it. You can go make coffee. I'm sure no one's timing you. And sometimes I have written mine at night just because I didn't have any time in the morning. Sometimes I have written mine at night when desperation called. When I didn't have any time in the morning, things just, started a little bit chaotic and I never got around to doing it. But by nighttime, I feel like there is stuff that needs to come out, and then I will write them at night sometimes. It slightly defeats the purpose, but it's still exercise for, it's still brain dumping, so I guess it's better than nothing. I guess what I'm trying to say is you really can't do this wrong. There's no wrong way to do it. You are always going to get benefits from doing this. Try and just do it as consistently as you possibly can. Try and fit it in wherever you can. Try and write as much as you possibly can without really going overboard, and you will start feeling a weight lifted and a sense of hopefulness. I cover most of what I've gotten out of these in another video that I made. I'll link it in the description below. So now we can get into a bit of the hacks. These are just little tips and tricks that I find helps you do them and help you get a little bit more out of your morning pages. So the first thing is, don't try and buy expensive, aesthetic, beautiful notebooks. Let me use Exhibit A. This is what I bought to start the Artist's Way morning pages with. This was obviously before I did the Artist's Way, so I didn't have the book. I didn't read the book beforehand that said, okay, it has to be A4 pages. I just heard other people talking about morning pages and what they were, and so I started doing them. But I thought, I'm going to start on this beautiful book. It's going to make me so happy to see this every day. And look, I even did, put a little label on it. I had the best of intentions. This thing got filled up literally so quickly. I mean, I even wrote it here. Week 1 to week 6. Need I say more? So now I write them in just, the cheapest, sort of more like a school type of a book, like a hardbound school type of a book. And that works great because they are cheap. I don't feel like I am wasting space or money or anything, or trees or whatever. And I buy those that I can find the same of, so I can buy duplicates of them. I can even buy them in bulk if I need to. But I mean, in the last year, I have probably gone through 2 or 3 of them already, and they are like 200 pages each. So buy something inexpensive because you are going to, sorry, the sun has just come out in full effect right now. It's been an overcast day the whole day. So cheap notebook. Number 2, cheap pen. But you buy a pen that is nice to write with. Something gel, I would suggest. Something that writes easily, but is, again, cheap enough so you don't feel bad that you have finished it in a week. Because that is how long a pen lasts for me, is basically a week. So you can see how you are not, it's not sustainable to now buy an expensive pen. I just think gel pens are the most comfortable to write with, but anyway, that's just my opinion. Then the next little hack I have is to always keep 2 or 3 different colors of highlighters or markers or whatever with your book, because when you write your morning pages, there might be a lot of nonsense that you're writing, but here and there might be the spark of brilliance or something really insightful or something that you really want to, like an action that you really need to take, like a to-do or something like that. But if you color code those sort of things, like I do insights, I do action items or goals, and then I do things like, I can't even remember now. Something like quotes or videos or ideas, or I can't remember. But anyway, you title them how you want and then keep the highlighters with you. So after you've written what you feel like was something quite insightful, you highlight it in that color. So later when you want to go back and maybe digitize those things, which I talk about in one of my other videos, where I add them to my second brain, I then know which things to capture. Because believe me, you cannot reread all the stuff that you've written. It will take you forever. You won't be able to. And so you don't want all those good nuggets of wisdom to go to waste. Because yes, you do have nuggets of wisdom, and the proof will be in your morning pages. Okay, so keep the highlighters there. The other thing you could do if you really are not into highlighters, maybe it's a bit too corporate for you, is you can use like little annotations on the side. I do that sometimes too. I write a capital I for insight, or a little A for action, and then once I've captured it, meaning I've put it into my second brain, which is just like my digital note-taking system where I add tags and things like that, then I can just make a little mark next to it just to show that I have captured it. That's how anal I can get. Okay, that is actually the next hack that I actually wanted to talk about, is to think about including your morning pages, using what you've written, using your own knowledge and insights and ideas and whatever, and capturing them in a digital way so that you can find them again. Make them discoverable to yourself. And I will probably one day make a video about how I'm building my second brain. It's just basically personal knowledge management. But with the apps and stuff that are available today, with all the tagging and stuff, it makes it so easy to now make your ideas discoverable. And you can just create this amazing database full of ideas and things that would have otherwise just gone to waste. So it's really not complicated. You just have to get into the habit of capturing these things and have a way of capturing it. Keep it simple, but do it. Sorry if that sounded a bit like do it, but do it. Okay, the next one, and this is very random. If you have to get up really early in the morning to write these, like I do, and it's usually dark, try doing it by candlelight. I know this sounds so insane, but I've done it a couple of times because when I woke up, we had no power. I live in South Africa, so welcome. But I had no power, so I had to do them by candlelight. And let me tell you what, it was so romantic and so nice. And I thought, wow, this is what, this is what people used to feel like, this is how they used to feel when they had to write or do anything by candlelight. It makes it feel so special. I don't know why. It was really nice, and yeah, try it. You might like it. I think it's just better than sitting in like artificial light. Yes, I don't know. First thing in the morning, I just don't like artificial light. So I think that's the last thing that I want to say is a bit of my own, a bit of a plug for myself. But I created this workbook, which is supposed to be a companion workbook to the Artist Way. So if you are interested in doing the Artist Way, please go and have a look at the workbook that I created. I do sell it on Etsy at the moment. It's probably less than $10 if I'm not mistaken. But I created it because when I started doing the Artist Way, I got really annoyed by the fact that I had to write all of these answers and do all of these tasks in a separate book. And I had to page back and forth, and then I would have to do the task in a separate book and not have any reference for what I was writing there. So later on, if I went back and looked at my answers, I didn't know what the question was. So I had to go look back in the book to see what the question was, and I just got annoyed with this process. So within the first 2 or 3 weeks, I just went and recreated a workbook where all of the tasks are in, even the tasks that are in the middle of the chapters, and I organized it all by chapter. I even added all the little pieces of what she writes about what you should expect for that week. And so I've made it a digital thing, and so you can also use it on your tablet. And the great thing about it is that you can reuse it, obviously, because you can either just print it out again if you want to do it. I know a lot of people who have done the Artist Way multiple times. So it would be nice to, by your second or third time, go and look and see what you actually wrote the first time you did it. I don't know, you might not be into that. I'm very into it, so that's why I created it. But anyway, you go and look and check it out. It is on Etsy. It is over 120 pages, so do with that information what you like. But yeah, it took me quite a while to create it. So I hope that it helps people, and because it really made the entire process more, how can I say it? more enjoyable. It made the entire experience more enjoyable for me, because I realized in the first 2 or 3 weeks that I was actually missing a lot of the questions and missing a lot of the tasks because I had to go back and forth. I didn't feel like I was doing myself any favors. But the moment I got the workbook, and I did week by week, so I just added it as I did the weeks, I just thought, wow, I would have never been able to do it otherwise. It was like a game changer for myself. So that is why I decided to sell it. Otherwise, I would have just kept it for myself. But anyway, that is it for morning pages. I'm going to probably make a lot more videos about the artist way and about morning pages, artist dates, all of that stuff. And I will link any of the applicable videos that you probably would need to go and look at in the description below. And please go check out my Etsy listing. I would really appreciate it. And then go and really give this a try. I've said in one of my previous videos that it's like free therapy, and it really is. So go and give it a try and let me know how you get along with it, and let me know how you feel like it has changed you, because it will start changing you. Give it a couple of weeks, but it will. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Ciao!